Time now for the Daily Answer, sponsored by Salem Surround on The Answer Now TV.
Regarding the new budget, it includes Trump's pledges: no taxes on tips, no taxes on overtime pay, plus new tax breaks for car buyers and for seniors. There is a cap on state and local deduction of $10,000. The bill raises that cap to $30,000. It does not include a tax hike on the wealthiest Americans, even though apparently Trump told House Speaker Johnson as recently as last week he wanted a 39.6% rate on individuals making more than $2.5 million. The current rate is $37 million. And Johnson told reporters yesterday that the House is on track to pass the legislation by Memorial Day. It then goes to the Senate, where it could be subject to major revisions. Among the provisions up for debate, the amount to increase the nation's borrowing authority. House bill calls for a $4 trillion increase, smaller than the Senate's preferred $5 trillion level. That's got to be worked out. And the no tax on tipped wages is part of it. No tax on overtime pay, also part of it. Plan calls for making interest on car loans deductible, but car buyers can only do that with American-made cars. He also campaigned on ending taxes on Social Security benefits, but that apparently has run afoul of budget rules Republicans are using to pass the bill, so that might not be the case. Instead, the bill is providing a $4,000 bonus for seniors on top of the regular standard deduction. Again, this is the draft bill. Some lawmakers want high tax areas to have a bigger SALT, state and local deduction break. Places like New York, Chicago, Illinois that are high tax blue states, but that's still being debated right now. Also imposes a new tax on private foundations up to 10%, new tax on foreign remittance up to 5%, subject to exemptions. Tax breaks also benefiting the renewable energy sector. So-called renewables are set to be scaled back, if not eliminated. Production and investment tax credits for so-called clean energy phased out by the end of 2039, and a $7,500 consumer tax credit for the purchase of an EV fully eliminated by the end of 2026. Now, as you know, I've done a documentary on EVs, and I talk about the tax credits that buyers get for buying an EV and whether or not the market would be nearly as robust if it weren't for these kinds of tax credits. But apparently they're going to be phased out if this bill actually goes through. Also, the maximum child credit is being raised from $2,000 to $2,500, increasing the standard deduction. The bill also raises the estate tax exemption to $15 million. The bill includes roughly $1.5 trillion in spending cuts over the next decade. Republicans have pointed to tariffs as a key source of revenue to offset the impact. And as I mentioned earlier, record $16 billion from tariffs in April. So those are the broad strokes regarding the Trump bill. Now, let me get back to the poll numbers, as I was saying earlier. The percentage of people who say we're on the right track has never been this high in almost 20 years. It typically is a negative number. What are the numbers? 49% now say we're in the right direction, 46% wrong direction. This, believe it or not, is a record. The right direction numbers, according to Rasmussen, have never been this high.
For full shows, live and on demand, it's Salem News Channel. Stay informed anytime, anywhere with the Salem News Channel at 9:30 a.m. TheAnswer.com. This has been The Daily Answer, sponsored by Salem Surround on The Answer Now TV.